And now I'm just realizing that the last 2 times I've been there, it's rained. What does that say about me? Do I have the power of precipitation? I don't know, but when I go to Fuerteventura, it rains. And usually you don't go to the beach when it's rainy, obviously. It is Sunday, April 7th, 2024, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about this picture. All right, everybody, I have a little bit of information and updates for you before we get to that picture and some other pictures from that series. If you're up to date here on the Very Unofficial Travel Guides, you know last week I was a little bit worried because our next cruise, which is leaving from Hawaii in just a couple weeks, is on the Brilliance of the Seas, which was broken. But the good news is, according to the Royal Caribbean website,
she's been healed.
Let me just read to you what it says on the website. Travel update, Brilliance of the Seas. Unfortunately, we had technical issues on a previous sailing of Brilliance of the Seas, and while all repairs have been completed, we're gonna need some extra time to get the ship ready for you. This means that our sailing will now depart April 7th. So this affects people who were on a sailing that was supposed to leave April 4th, but that is plenty of time to get the ship back on the seas and over to Hawaii for our boarding day, which is April 28th. So, in last week's Sunday Sofa Time, I talked all about that, and I'm so thankful for all the suggestions I've been getting in the comments of things we should do at those ports. One thing that's a little confusing to me is there's been a handful of people who have suggested that we stay at the Aulani Resort, which is Disney's Hawaiian resort, which is kind of west of Honolulu. And do you know how much it costs to stay there? Yeah, I don't mean to be like extra sassy, but the Aulani Resort is definitely outside of my price range. But I think we found a pretty cool hotel to stay at that has a really nice vibe that we're really interested in. So make sure you keep checking back here if you want like daily updates when the trip starts. Follow me at the Very Unofficial Travel Guides Facebook page and at Mr. Morgan on Instagram. There's a lot of things about this trip that I'm really excited about, and a lot of your suggestions have been really helpful. So thanks again for that. Here's something really important that I want to start preparing you for right now. I want as many of you regular viewers out there to hear this in advance, and that is, I've been doing a lot of talking about the thumbnails and the way YouTube works nowadays and the algorithm and the keywords and things like that, and I came up with an idea to generate a lot of traffic, and that is, on one of my Hawaii videos, I'm going to use in the thumbnail the words, "Goodbye USA, hello Hawaii." Now, I know that that is stupid.
That's the point.
I think what's gonna happen is a lot of people are gonna click on the video thinking, who is this idiot? And hopefully they'll quickly see how fun and entertaining I am and that it was a big joke, and then they'll like and subscribe. But I just want you to know in advance, so when the video does go online, that you don't think that too. You can look forward to that day with me now as well, and just we'll see what happens. At the end of a recent video, I teased at the end of the video with a picture of a young man in fantastic shape doing a one-handed handstand on a beach all alone. And yes, like I said, that really is me, and today I want to tell you the story about that day and how this all came to be. It's a good old-fashioned story time video. The resort that I have been making these videos about the last few weeks is the Fuerteventura Princess Resort. I know, not on a lot of your radars, but there are some people out there who are interested in staying here, who are interested in learning more about places like this, and I enjoy sharing my travel experiences with you, regardless of if they are about cruising or theme parks, which I know is what most of you want to see. But every once in a while, I like to share something else, and this is one of those situations. And although these are the first videos about the Fuerteventura Princess Resort on the channel, it's not the first time I've stayed there. In fact, it's the third time that I have stayed there. And the first two times were 12 years ago and probably 14 years ago. The first time I was there was for a week of tennis training back when tennis was really important at the resort. If you watch my upcoming full tour of the resort and our week there, you'll hear me talk about how I was actually kind of disappointed about the tennis now at the resort. But yeah, so I stayed there once on my own for the tennis training. That was, by the way, if you've been here for a while and watched every Sunday Sofa Time, I told a story about how this cougar tried to seduce me at a resort. That was this resort. If I think of it, and somebody remind me if I don't remember, I'll link that Sunday Sofa Time in the description so you can, maybe I should watch it again too. But I had such a good time at the resort, and when Marcus and I were, how long had we been together at that point? 3 years, 4 years? We decided we wanted to do a week vacation someplace in the sun, and we ended up going to the Fuerteventura Princess Resort as well. While we were there, we played a lot of tennis. We did a couple little field trips because we had a rental car, and there was a day where we wanted to explore the west coast of the island because there used to be literally half of a stranded cruise ship sitting there. This was the SS America. This is what it looked like a long time ago. And unfortunately, what we didn't know when we drove all the way over to the other side of the island is it's not there anymore. It fell apart several years ago. There wasn't even really enough of it sitting there for us to take any reasonable pictures of it. So I don't even have any pictures to show you of that. But after we were there, we wanted to drive down to the big Cofete beach. And on the way there, it actually started raining. And now I'm just getting really confused because Fuerteventura is a desert. It's like famous for being sunny all the time. And now I'm just realizing that the last 2 times I've been there, it's rained. What does that say about me? Do I have the power of precipitation? I don't know, but when I go to Fuerteventura, it rains. And usually you don't go to the beach when it's rainy, obviously. But we were already in the car, we already had half of our day over, and we thought we'll just drive around there since we're on the road anyways. Unlike the east side of the island that faces Africa, which is where most of the developments and the huge resorts are, the west side, especially where we were going, is basically like a nature preserve where there's nothing. No hotels, no resorts, not really any restaurants or bars. It's just like nature. And by the time we got up and around the mountain and down to the beach, it had stopped raining, but because it was raining, the entire beach was empty. And this isn't just like, like a little patch of sand. This is miles and miles of sand, and there was nobody there. And I don't mean like,
oh, there were just a few people over there and like one person over there.
I mean, there was nobody there. So we parked the car, we went walking along the beach, and when I realized that, this was just such a spectacular background, I thought, let's take some cool pictures. This was back when I was still working professionally in musical theater. I was in probably the best shape of my life. I was performing 8 shows a week, dancing my butt off. And for some reason, I thought, you know what, Marcus, I'm just gonna dance around a little bit here, do some leaps and jumps, and you snap some pictures, and we'll just see, maybe it'll be something fun. And so Marcus took a bunch of pictures, and I remember way back then, I posted 4 or 5 of them to Facebook, which I'm really grateful for because otherwise I wouldn't have them anymore. And I think the one that stands out the most is this one. This is me. It looks like I'm doing a one-handed handstand. I was in that position, and because it's a photo, it looks like I'm like balanced up there. I have worked in circus-related shows with people who can do one-handed handstands. I'm not one of them. I was more or less just balanced on one arm for a second or two while Marcus shot this picture. And after I posted it to Facebook, I realized if you turn this sideways, it's even cooler. So this is kind of just a really cool memory to have from a different time in my life. Let me show you some of the other pictures that we took on that day, or some of the highlights of the pictures from that day, the ones that I posted to Facebook, my private Facebook back then. And when I look at these, and of course the resolution is nowhere as good as it would be if we were to do that again today, but when I look at these pictures, I remember back then thinking I needed to be in better shape.
Better shape.
If I had a magic lamp, I would use all 3 wishes to make my stomach as flat as that again today. Isn't that weird? That, yeah, at that time in my life, looking like that, I felt like I wasn't in good shape. What should I say about myself now? Oh well, I'm gonna be 50 in a couple weeks, so screw it. But yeah, so that is the story of this picture or these pictures. And I wanted to know, have you ever been traveling on vacation, on a cruise, land vacation, wherever, and had the opportunity to get some kind of picture that's been like, wow, this is amazing. You know, like you with some northern lights or a really spectacular sunset, or maybe, I don't know, a volcano erupting in the background or something like that. If you did, let me know in the comments, and when I post this video on Facebook, maybe we can share some pictures. And speaking of comments, now comes the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments live on air. In last week's Sunday Sofa Time, I told you all about this upcoming Hawaii adventure. These comments are on that video. The first one is from Fresno Zena. They write, "Dear Morgan, Hawaii tutorial." Thank you, this is really helpful. Hawaii is all one state, and each island is like a county. The proper name of Hilo is Hilo. Kauai is pronounced Kauai. The island of Hawaii is usually just called the Big Island to avoid confusion with single island and whole state. We've made this crossing a couple times in May and had beautiful crossings. Aloha. Thank you so much for clearing that up. I can't guarantee that I'm not gonna get it wrong, but yeah, Hawaii, all these islands, that is one state. And of course, it's kind of confusing to people who don't live on islands like me, because it's just such a different setup than what we're used to. So I'm glad that there's somebody like Fresno Zena here who is willing to help me out a little bit and just give me a heads up. Thank you very much for that. Next comment is from Cheryl Ademic. Cheryl writes, "Oh my God, Cadbury eggs are my kryptonite. I need to stay far away from them or I will eat them until I am sick." Last week's Sunday Sofa Time was on Easter, and I was talking about how I just think those Cadbury cream eggs that are filled like with the white goo are so nasty. So Cheryl,
That's gross. Get some help.
y'all know I'm kidding, right? Final comment is from Tom. Letter. Tom writes, how comes that Emma Cruises with her friendly face and informative title doesn't have 0 subscribers and views? Tom is talking about this ongoing discussion that I've been having here on the channel about how the structure of thumbnails here on the Very Unofficial Travel Guides is going to be changing because of the suggestions that YouTube has been sending to me directly to say, look, this is what you should be doing in order to stay current and relevant with other channels in your category. Why do they not suggest Emma's videos to me, even though her videos are more like mine than Tony's and Don's and Jay's? Why? I don't know why. I'm not saying that this is the only thing that works, but like the evidence I presented, we creators get a weekly report from YouTube saying, look, this is doing well, this is not doing well. Other people are doing this and that's doing well. If you want to do well, do this. And I think it's great that Emma's and Ilana's and so many other creators we could take as an example who are not doing like super dramatic thumbnails and mostly positive thumbnails. I think it's great that they are also successful and growing their channel. I've been doing that for a while and it doesn't seem to be as effective for me anymore. So now I'm gonna try to take YouTube's suggestions for a while and see if that helps me kind of bump it back up again. Thanks for spending this part of your Sunday or whatever day it is that you watch this with me here on the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I'm Morgan and I hope to see you back here soon. Bye-bye.